All right, man. We
West
have a
Virginia.
super regional taking place inside of Chapel Hill
Country
this weekend.
roads,
No,
take
don't
me
even start that with
home.
me. Don't you start country road with me. Dagummit, I had to sit there through that West Virginia, North Carolina bowl game earlier this year, or actually, sorry, late last
Oh, but
year.
I got tickets for
And
you through the Rams Club. Yeah.
yeah, and you sent me to it. I did a lovely vlog for all of you who have not saw that, so be sure and check that out because it was just a wonderful evening watching that game. But this is different. It's baseball. North Carolina, I think now was what the third national seed, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure they moved up one after last weekend against LSU. But North Carolina's looking really good coming into this super regional against the West Virginia Mountaineers. Per ESPN bet, they are favored minus 250
Hmm.
is the money line there. Tell me, what do you think? Do you like that? Do you like that
Oh,
that line there?
no, I mean, North Carolina, of course, North Carolina's going to be the favorite. They just beat the defending national champions in a barn burner. West Virginia is a 3 seed, so North Carolina is always going to be the betting favorite. I mean, I think North Carolina will win the series. Um, but West Virginia, this is the first time West Virginia's been to a super regional, but this is also their coach's last season coaching. So it's like his swan song, so to speak. So it's like do it for coach. So I mean you know, West Virginia comes in with no expectations. All the pressure is going to be on Carolina to perform. You're the fourth national seed. You got this piddly, 3 seed that made it out of Tucson Regional that didn't even have to play the 1 seed. Um, so, I mean, the betting line is what it is.
Well, let's start looking at this game a little bit more closely. Let's go into the percentages and start off with some batting percentages. What do you say? Sound good to you?
Yeah.
Bang. There we go. So the leaders in batting for home runs for West Virginia is Reed Chumley with 15 home runs on the season. For North Carolina, it is 24 from Mr. Number 7 himself, Vance Honeycutt. He's batting 309 with 62 RBIs on the season. Reed Chumley batting a 305 with 48 RBIs on the season as well. Batting average for West Virginia, their leader is J.J. Weatherholt with an average of 339. Say again?
I'm seeing the name Hunter Stokely, but I don't. I mean, he's batting 500. That's really high. He doesn't have that many at bats.
Yeah, so a lot of
If
this is
he,
kind of like what I found, and we'll see this again, especially when we talk about the pitching side of it, because the pitcher that you're talking about is pitching a 1.0 uh, on his.
yeah, 0 wins, 10 strikeouts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, of
so
course, Dalton Pinch. His ERA is low, but he's a reliever. Uh,
yeah, and so is
I'm a
the Fredericks there. But
I'm a
going
firm
back to the
believer.
batting
Okay.
averages, Hunter Stokely with a batting 500 there as well. Again, we talked about not too many at bats, so um, generally with stuff like this, you kind of have to just take it for what it
Yeah, but
is
you
because there's
you
there's some
throw
skewed
every
numbers here for sure
you
because
throw
you don't
all
know
of
how
that
many
out the
games
window.
played, how many times at the bat, or even pitching as we're getting ready to see as well. But RBIs is Reed Chumley's their leader with 48, as we talked about just a minute ago, and Casey Cook leading us with 76 RBIs on the season, coupled with 18 home runs as well. Had himself an interesting night the other night against LSU, the actual championship game on Monday night. But good to see. Good to see all that stuff, man. Maybe get a few more on the season as well. Going for the pitching stats here. Dalton Pence has the most earned run average there with 2.15 from Dalton Pence there as well. 65 strikeouts for him. And then Joseph Fredericks That's the guy that it's the left-handed pitcher that I believe that you're referring to. That's going to be their
No, his ERA,
starting.
his ERA is higher than that. And
Okay.
he has more than 10 strikeouts, and he has some wins. So I'm not sure who that guy is for West Virginia. But yeah, the ERA is kind of like a golf score. The lower it is, the better it is.
Yeah, and typically with stuff like this, with a guy that is a reliever that may come in. I know Joseph Fredericks. I looked; he had only pitched in 10 innings. So it's like if you did the statistics right, it's like 10.5, I believe it was like 10 and a half innings or something of that nature throughout his entire season this year. So obviously, some statistics are going to be skewed a little bit.
Yeah.
They are there. Their statistics, if you like them, they're there. But there is a little bit more of a story to tell. This outside of RBIs and home runs and pitching averages and batting averages, outside of that, it's kind of whatever. And even those can be skewed depending on who it is and what it is there. So the most wins for North Carolina has been credited to Matthew. I think they call this Matthias. I believe that's what it is. I always said Mateus, but Alan gave me a little bit of a lecture per Scott Forbes and said that this name is evidently pronounced Matthias instead of Mateus there. He has 12 wins on
They
his
call him the
season.
Vulture.
Say what now?
They call him the Vulture.
There you go. And which dude, he had an amazing game on Monday night. Just a great game. He did have that one home run, but man, it's just that was a great batting list over there for LSU. But Derek P. Clark, I said Carr. Derek P. Clark has the most wins for West Virginia, credited with 8. He also has 81 strikeouts on the season, with Matthew Matthias having 55. And Clark is their leading person with strikeouts, again with 81, but also Jason DeCaro for North Carolina, who we saw start the LSU game on Monday night, is credited with 67. He actually has 5 wins on his season as well. So Derek Clark's not a name that I'm sure that won't be out there, man. He's going to be out there a lot for them.
Yeah, he's one
I'm
of their
sure.
starters.
Yeah, I don't know who their ace is, but that might be it. Dude, I feel so bad for Folger, by the way, in all this, because, dude, if you have Folger, that just helps so much.
Well, no, I mean you're forgetting about Jake Knapp. They lost him in spring practice. Jake Knapp was supposed to be your Friday night starter. So really, your pitchers. If we hadn't lost anybody, you'd have had Knapp starting Friday. I guess it'd be a toss up between Boaz and DeCaro on Saturday. Then, what did his name just go? Who pitches after who's the Saturday
Sprague?
starter? Yeah, Shea Sprague. Shea Sprague would have been your Sunday starter. Then you had Aiden Houck coming out of the bullpen, or starting in a midweek game. I mean, so your Sunday starter would have been pushed all the way back to a midweek game. And then Sprague might have been pushed back to a midweek game because you still got you'd had Knapp, Boaz, and DeCaro. So I mean, this pitching rotation would have been, I mean, almost bulletproof if it wasn't for the 2 injuries. I mean, it would have been insane what this. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do. I mean, honestly,
yeah,
I wouldn't know what to feel. I wouldn't know how to feel if we had Jake Knapp, Boaz, along with but with the pitching staff we have currently. I mean, you'd never run out of arms. I mean, LSU wouldn't have had a chance. But that's neither here nor there. But no, I think Sprague is getting the start Friday since DeCaro did go those 2 innings on Monday. So Sprague will get the start Friday. Then
earlier today was that he's getting the start.
Then DeCaro will probably start Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And
holy cow,
DeCaro is a very interesting fellow, man. He is a wild hair out there. I tell you, but he don't care, bro. He's gonna just throw the freak out that ball, man. He don't even care. But let's look at some team stats. Let's look at the teams compared to each other. Starting up, West Virginia on an average of 272. That's on this season as well. Yeah, I think that's just on the season.
That's like season stats.
Yeah. That's the entire season stat. Oh, the average of 272 there. A total of 399 runs, 536. Oh,
no, that's hits. That's hits. That's
hits. Man, I'm just looking at the numbers back and forth through North Carolina. It's just kind of staggering to me a little bit here.
Well, you got a 1 seed in North Carolina and a 3 seed in West Virginia. So
yeah, we're number 3 national seed now. Home runs for on the season, 88 for West Virginia, an on-base percentage of 370, a slugger percentage of 468, a earned run average of, let me read this again, make sure, because I'm looking at it differently, of 512, a walks and hits per inning pitched with 1.52, and then bases on ball percentage of 600. Any thoughts on that before we kick over to North Carolina?
No, their batting averages, on the positive side of mediocre. They have a little bit of pop in their bats.
Yeah,
that's about it. I mean,
well, let's take a look at the Tar Heels here.
So they got some power. So
yeah. Well, North Carolina's batting have an average of 308, which is pretty good. 522 runs on the season, 631 hits, 109 home runs, which a lot of them have come through Vance Honeycutt, as we saw earlier. And on-base percentage.
Vance and Parks. I mean, they're in the 20s. Casey and Ozuna's in the teens. Luke Stevenson's in the teens. D'Onofrio and Gallagher is almost in the double figures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it all adds up to 109. Yeah. Most home runs in a single season in UNC history.
That's freaking it's amazing to see what Scott Forbes has been able to put together over here. I'm just saying. A on-base percentage of 413, a slugger percentage of 536, earned run percentage of 433, a walks and hits per inning pitched percentage of 142, and I completely forgot to talk about strikeouts. I saw that little set right there. That's a pretty striking difference there, but let's go ahead.
Yeah,
that's base on balls at 383, and the strikeout difference between West Virginia and North Carolina. West Virginia with 1,084 strikeouts on the season, and North Carolina with 863. Again, comments on the two teams stacked up against each other.
Well, on the one hand, it shows that West Virginia gets a lot of walks with 600, but on the other hand, it shows that they strike out a lot too. So, which is indicative of that whip being a 1/10 of a percent higher than North Carolina. Because with the whip, you want that to be as high as possible.
Yeah.
So, but that 600 walks really factors in to the whip being that 1/10 of a point higher. Because North Carolina's only walked 383 times. But I mean, it's indicative. I mean, 300 more walks, 200 more strikeouts. But North Carolina's batting average is higher, on base percentage is higher, ERA is lower. So if you go by the paper, North Carolina wins this thing.
Well, let's talk about it, man. They're coming down the Chapel Hill. West Virginia's coming to town. When you look back and forth at,
they're already in town.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they play tomorrow evening. By the time we're talking tomorrow, I mean the first game's going to be done. So when you look at the series, What do you believe the key for North Carolina is in order to win this game? And give me a little prediction. What do you think this series is going to be? Is it going to be a 3-game series? Will it be a 2-game series?
If North Carolina can get production from their top,
4.
four. We'll say four. If the top four is getting on base and getting hits, and then the bottom two or three is getting on base and getting hits, then and that's it's just a constant cycle. Like you get on, I'm gonna knock you in. You know, it's all timely hitting. It's the runners in scoring position. You have to get hits. If there is a man on second and or third with 1 out, 2 out, 1 or 2 outs, or no outs, you want to get base hits with runners in scoring position. If North Carolina can hit the ball with runners in scoring position, then this should be Friday, Saturday. We're off. We're done.
Yeah.
If North Carolina struggles, I mean, obviously, if North Carolina struggles at the plate, then and then in baseball, one swing can, one swing of the bat can change the game. I mean, uh, North Carolina had no business winning that game Friday night. I mean, North Carolina was staring down the barrel of practically the end of their season.
Yeah.
Friday night, because the chances of you coming all the way through the losers bracket and essentially beating LSU twice, because obviously nobody else is
Back to
beating
back,
LSU.
really.
Yeah, was not probable. I mean, because by the time you get to LSU on Sunday, you're down a pitcher. Your bullpen's been used up. Then if you somehow win that game Sunday, you have to turn around again Monday, and that bullpen that's used up is even more used up. And then them boys over there just they're just too good with the bats to lose that game.
Right.
But Scott Forbes called it that Bosch magic, and we had some Bosch magic Friday night and Monday night. I mean, North Carolina got it done in the bottom of the night, or bottom of the night Friday, top of the night Monday. So I mean, it's all about timely hitting, but you don't want the timely hits to come in the ninth inning. You want those timely hits to come in the third, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh inning. So by the time you get to that eighth and ninth inning, all you're worried about is getting the last 6 outs. You got that lead. You got a 2-3 run lead. Let's just put in Dalton pins, put in posted, and just strike these boys out and go home and get ready for the next day. The second key to the game is going to be your starting pitching. You're going to want your starting pitchers to get you to at least the fifth inning. You don't want the starting pitchers to give up early runs and get a lot of traffic on the bases in those first 1 to 2 innings, and get that pitch count up. You want to keep that pitch count per inning to between 10 and 15. You start getting into them 20 pitch innings, then you're looking at 60 pitches by the third, 80 pitches. You could possibly be looking to 60 to 70 pitches by the fourth inning. And by that time, your bullpen's already warming up and getting ready to come in the fifth, depending on how the game's going. So you want some longevity out of your starters, so that bullpen doesn't have to work as hard for as long. So when they do come in, it's just maximum effort for those 2 or 3 outs that you need them to get.
Right.
That's all I got.
That's all you got.
That's my 2 keys. Timely hits, hitting with runners in scoring position, and your starting pitching, giving you some depth into the game.
Yeah. I like it, but I think once again, you're going to need to have some production, some timely production. In basketball, I love basketball to death. And Kendrick Perkins, all the time when he's talking about basketball and basketball teams, he always talks about the others. People talk about the others, the guys that play. They say that the others play better at home. Well, it was the others, Gavin Gallagher at the bat, Alex Madera at bat, that helped you win those two. I mean, it helped you beat LIU. And then again, Madera being able to get that timely hit over LSU in order to send a run home.
Nick Castagnazzi coming off the bench.
Castagnazzi with a big hit. I mean, a guy who hadn't been there on the plate all too much in quite some time. So seeing him back out there and some timely hits, I think it's going to take some of the others. The others have got to step up in this moment. I mean, obviously the big names, the Vance Honeycutts, the Parks Harbors, the Casey Cooks out there. You're going to want them to do their thing on offense and get you those hits that you want. And on defense, Gallagher making some big plays over there at third base, and also maybe Parks making some pretty cool catches there at first base, which some of the catches he makes are just fun. Your center fielder and Vance Honeycutt making the big plays, but Madera at shortstop, your right fielders, you need the others. You're going to need them, especially in playoff time, because playoff, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, it gets a little bit different, and you see what your team is made of. And what I've liked so far is you have saw how well this team has really come together in times of need. I mean, Dalton Pence, for him to come straight out and just say, I got this, coach. Like, coach, you told me this is what I was going to be, and this is what I'm going to be your closer. That you told me that's what you wanted me to be, and by God, I'm going to do it. And him just to come down there, and even not only that in the championship game, but the first game, I believe it was against LSU, where he come out and like the bases were loaded and they were starting to knock some stuff in, and he just come out there and got the outs that we needed to get out of that inning and to escape and to keep us ahead and keep them from tying that ball game up, which was very easy for them to do at that point in time, because I think they were at the top of the batting list, and the bases were loaded up pretty good, and he just says, "Nah, I got this, man. Let's freaking go, dude." Seeing that, I think it's gonna take the others. So I'm gonna say that, and also fans. Fans play a big part in this, and fans did a great job. So if you are a North Carolina fan that bought your tickets and you are going, instead of reselling them on the market for way too much, be loud when you're there, man. Be loud. Get over there and be loud and embrace the team. And even if Carolina's down, stay loud. Keep that same energy that we had, that Bosch magic that we saw. I think a lot of it has to do with the crowd. They were in it the entire time. And even when things look super grim, when I did the live stream, during the watch party, I watched the ticker, and the ticker never dropped below 45 for us. Like, people want to see what's going on with this game. Like they're like, nah, we can do this. They're sticking through. They're not just like, well, this sucks, and they're not doing it. It would have been easy to do. I mean, you couldn't tell me when, Carolina scored 2 in the top of the first and then nothing else until the 9th. You're like, frick, here we go. And they were up 3-2. I mean, nothing. I mean, it's so easy to say, screw it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. But just hold on tight. Give them a little bit of time.
I've watched too much North Carolina baseball to count North Carolina out.
Yeah. So it's going to take the others, I think. I think it's going to take some of the fans as well. You've kind of got that. I like what your lineup is. I've got my 2 little keys, and maybe people there in the comment section will agree with us. They might have a different take that we don't know. Be sure to let us know down there in the comments below. We absolutely want to hear from you guys, and tell us what you think about this Super Regional Championship. This is the 11th time North Carolina's been in the Super Regional. They are still hunting for the 12th appearance in the Omaha College World Series. They are looking for that 12th appearance, but not only that, they're searching for something even bigger, and that's a championship. And I like this North Carolina team. I hate that they don't have some of the players that they don't have, the pitching staff especially. And I still have some high hopes for this team. North Carolina has only been beaten, or no, excuse me. Was it the last two times they've been in the College World Series? They lost to Oregon
Oregon State.
State. Oregon State, I believe it was. Yeah.
Back to back.
Yep, back to back. That's right. There it is, right there. My back to back. I'm trying to keep stats and everything else up on my computer tabs here. That way I can see everything. That way I can give you guys the best information possible. But yeah, I like this team. This team has grit. I'm not gonna lie. During this entire season, I have completely doubted them multiple times against some big ranked teams. Because there was a lot of games. I'm like, why aren't they winning these games? Like, these games are in their hand. Games that come to my mind is like the Virginia game. You're up 11-5 in the first, 3, 4, 5 innings, and you'll still lose that game. And the game against a South Carolina squad, everything's there, and just different games throughout the season that they were losing against ranked teams that they had leads and they just lost them. Just like, what is going on here? But they showed me something against LSU for sure. They really, really showed me something. They showed the grit and the grime, and you're not coming in our house and beating us. So I like that. I like it. I like what they're showing. I like the confidence. Let's keep it moving forward. And I'm looking forward to some Carolina baseball. Hopefully, this thing's a 2-game series. Oh, what did you project? Do you project a 2-game or 3-game series?
I think North Carolina's going to get it done in 2.
I'm going to agree with you. I do believe that the first game might be won by a bigger margin than what the second game would be. I believe Carolina comes out tomorrow night and wins
I
probably by
just
2-3
say
runs.
that because everything that I've read and heard about West Virginia's pitchers, they don't get a lot of strikeouts. They're not the Chase Burns, Jump, Hope, Coleman, Holman, whatever. You know,
New Coleman,
the big 6'4", 6'3", power 96 mile an hour fastballs, Chase Burns type, strike you up 13 strikeouts in a game. They're not that. They are, we're gonna pitch, you're gonna hit, we're just gonna get you out. You're gonna hit the ball, but it's not gonna be extremely hard contact, and we're just gonna take our ground balls and fly balls and we're just gonna move on. You want to strike out, that's great, but we're here to play ball. And I think that's just a dangerous game to play with a lineup like North Carolina.
Yeah. Well, it does say something about West Virginia being here in this position. They're in a super regional for a reason. They even coming as a 3 seed, they still had to go in there and win their region. And you give them credit for being here. And I think it's going to be an absolutely fun game, or a fun little series here. I'm looking forward to it. I do believe Carolina gets this thing done in 2, but it will be a pretty tough back and forth couple of games there. There is a chance I do believe that it absolutely could go 3, but I just believe North Carolina's going to bring this thing home in 2. For sure.
Yep. So I think sounds good.
And they're going to move on. And we're getting closer, man. That time.
And I honestly, I do believe that if North Carolina wins this game or wins the Super Regional and they move on to Omaha, I do believe that in their quadrant of 4, Tennessee's in their quadrant of 4.
Yeah. That's going to be fun.
That's the best team in baseball.
Yep. We can say and if, but Jesus Christ, that'd be fun.
That's a double. That's a 4-team double elimination side bracket there. So
yeah,
you got to win 2 games to at least just have a crack at not having to lose, beat them twice.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, I've always been this way. If you're gonna be the best, you got to beat the best, and that's why, like in football, I wish we would face people that were the best. I wish we would do that. In baseball, like in basketball this season, facing teams that were the best, teams like a UConn that were out there, Kentucky early, which you thought was going to be a whole lot better than they were, but facing teams like that, you want them. You know, it helps you. Iron sharpens iron, man. It just does, and it builds up your program. So I would love to see that in the future. But looking forward to the Super Regional this weekend. It's going to be absolutely fun. 6 o'clock rolls around. It's gonna be a fun atmosphere. I'm looking forward to some Super Regional baseball and hopefully see the crowds just as big as they were last weekend. And I think it's gonna be a fun time. But hey, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always,
go Heels.
Go Heels.
You don't want none.
I'm good, I'm a leader, I'm dying, I'm